When we try to just be like them, when we try to show them that, the Jew, what we do is we make a lot of money, or the Jew is successful, we build big houses, or they're like, stop trying to be good at what we do in the physical world. Can you just become what you're meant to become?
Hi, everybody. This is Ari Bensoussan.
And this is Yossi Bensoussan.
And this is the 2 Cents Podcast.
Brought to you and powered by Meaningful Minute.
How we doing, everybody? Welcome back. Very special 2 Cents Podcast. We are getting together. It's pretty early out here in LA, and it's snowing in Cleveland, so two good reasons why.
Very early for a snow day.
Yeah, that is true. But we're here because we both agreed that from the busy schedules, we try to keep to a specific schedule, but there's nothing specific and there's nothing schedule anymore inside the reality that the world is today. And right. Yes and I kept on saying, look, we got to make this happen somehow. So here we are in the greatest of times, in the worst of times. And we're trying now to just maybe talk to each other for a few minutes to help make sense of it, probably more for ourselves than for anybody listening. But we figured while we try to make sense of it for ourselves, we'll let everybody give a listen in on it. So, So
we haven't spoken together about even off. I'm saying off of everything. We really haven't spoken. I think both of us, all of us, have been really just occupied with trying to affect and help and do and do our part and everything. And we haven't really gotten to really go into it for ourselves yet. That's a certain reality that I think many lines of work have, is that, you have to throw yourself in, and then at a certain point you could finally take that time to process. So for me, this is my processing.
To sit down and just take stock on your own of what's happening. So, like, ever since this whole craziness began, I'm sure Yossi, like myself, a lot of places, a lot of speeches, a lot of schools wanted you to come and talk to the kids. A lot of parts of the community wanted some kind of a chizuk, which is wonderful and which is really, Baruch Hashem, in a way, at least feeling like you're doing something towards it. A lot of people just feeling as if, is there more I can do? And I think we should start off with this thought. Just the wake of the sleeping giant. The giant got just out of a slumber. Klal Yisrael has been brought to its greatest. Rev Berkowitz would always say.
I don't know when, this might be many years into the future, someone's watching this. We are referring to the events of October 7th of the invasion of Hamas terrorists, first into Sderot and the Moshavim, and the horrors that happened, and the ensuing response and war time that we're in right now.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Thank you. So Reb Berkowitz would always say that when our back is up against the wall, the Jews are at their best. And there isn't more of a showing or a proof of that than what the response was of all of Klal Yisrael. And I don't know about you, but if there's ever been a time that I was more proud to be a Jew, that I felt more connected to Yidden, that I felt more connected to my brothers and sisters around the globe as one. I've never felt it more than now. And I'm so proud right now to be a Yid. And that is something that I think everybody, no matter where I went to go speak, no matter where I went to go and have discussions with people, everybody said is just the most beautiful thing. And let this just be a memory for everybody. Let this just be a recall, because, we were kids when 9/11 happened, teenagers, and there's a lot that I'm sure at the time we felt was such a stark reality that it's not something we would ever let slip our minds. But as time goes, that's how it goes. But so let it just be said that Klal Yisrael mobilized like one body, as one people, and we felt that a part of ourselves is hurting, and we will give everything we have for them. The amount of money that has been poured in to Eretz Yisrael from every last vestige. But forget about the money. Money's easy. The amount of clothing, I don't know what Israel's Meches is doing, Yossi. I have no idea how. No, I'm serious. How they're processing, because when you and I used to fly to Israel, so that was Yom Hadin. When you would show up, to Israel, so there's Meches. Meches means the tax authority. That as you would walk through, they'd be sitting there and looking at your bag, stopping you, X-raying it now. And now the amount of videos that we see in the hundreds and hundreds and now thousands and thousands of amazing saving bags, amazing saving suitcases that are being sent out. Amazing Savings they should give 10% of just their sale of suitcases to
just suitcases,
just on the suitcases. And it's all using. And if you are flying to Eretz Yisrael and you have a personal Amazing Savings suitcase, you will not be. Can you imagine standing there at the luggage and you're waiting now for your Amazing Savings suitcase that has your personal stuff? And as it all starts to come in, there's 500 Amazing Savings suitcases and bulletproof vests, just ballistic glasses, helmets. It's never ending, and everybody's sending it. And then all the kids taking up their responsibility, writing all the letters, seeing the tanks covered in letters of kids from everywhere. There was one soldier who was a teacher over here in Maimo. He was a teacher in one of the elementary schools over here. And he moved back to Israel a few years ago, and now he is called up as a reserve. And he sent a video to the LA community. And he was saying that when he came back from the front line just to take a somewhat of like a rest, and so there was like a rest area, he stopped by to clean himself up. And there was a box, and it said, take stuff out of this box. And there was so many letters. He put his hand inside. He came out with a bunch of letters, and it was from children, not from the elementary school that he taught in, but from Emek, from a different elementary school. And he said, there they are. And he started reading one after the other, and you see him getting emotional. And all the kids wrote, you're my hero. All the kids wrote, be safe. We're praying for you. We mobilized. And the Tehillim, the amount of Tehillim going on in every single vestige. And then Shai Groucher, this guy, running around. Wow. He's sitting Shiva for his father, and he comes running out. And he brought washing machines to the front line, the guy. He brought showers and wow.
So to me, a lot of it, just on that one point, a lot of it wasn't just, send them bulletproof vests, send them. It was like we're such Jews, and I say that in the most loving, appreciative, and proud way. The second or the minute all the medical stuff was sent, the bulletproof vests and helmets were sent, then it was just mayhem, fear game. You had these Sephardi grandmothers cooking, couscous and vegetables, just duct taping full pans and just shipping it to Israel, just to wherever we'll take. Like they had socks, and I'm saying they're gonna Ferrari's gonna be sending like just who knows how many cars just for like. It's amazing. It's incredible. I want to get though to like a few points. I fortunately or unfortunately had found out right away, like 4 a.m. our time, what was going on. We had some people in the house here who weren't. Actually, some people were keeping one day, and some people who weren't religious. And I come down. I heard a commotion. I come down. And they're all on their phones, and they're all like, I got to hear everything. Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Elia Brudny was in our area for Simchas Torah, so I got to go straight to him and get adracha and get advice on certain things. But on my way to shul, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what changed from yesterday to today? Like, what, first of all, Erev Shmini Atzeres, me like everyone else, we were. I was worried or stressed out about a million different things. I cannot for the life of me remember a single one. I have no idea what was important.
Right.
I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. It could have been an oil change that I still probably have not gotten. Like, I have no idea. I don't know. And it doesn't matter because our focus was smacked back into place. And I want to be clear here. I'm personally, or maybe disagree, I don't know, but I'm personally not about, speaking for Hashem. Oh, that I know you don't disagree on. I'm not about speaking for Hashem, saying that this happened for this reason, and this is why, and this is what we have to work on. I'm not, but I am very much into messaging and ramazim of how things happen and what we can learn from them. But I'm not going to go around saying that that's the reason, or that, or that's the reason why these people, unfortunately, now, bad things happen and these people were spared. I'm not the Rebbeinu Shalom. I don't go around playing that game. And I think it's a very dangerous game to go around playing, both in this world, just messaging people for the messages of people. And after 120, I don't want to come up and be like, I know I did this Avera, did that Avera. And Rebbeinu Shalom was like, no, I put you in those situations. I actually understood those. I do have a few questions, though, about your representation of why I did certain things. And when you spoke for me, that that I'd like to talk about. But I'm walking to shul, and I'm thinking, what changed from yesterday to today? And I realized that we left the sukkah. I went for the obvious one right away. We left the sukkah. We left the protection of the Amida Anan, of the sukkah. And as I'm walking, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, isn't that, now this is how Yossi Bensoussan's mind just does its own thing sometimes. I'm like, isn't that the worst protection the Rebbeinu Shalom could have given us in the Midbar? A cloud. It's like it's literally the worst protection a person can have is a cloud. It's like, have all the sand and all the rocks in the Midbar build up these massive walls around us, and a cloud can't actually protect anything. You could walk. Every time we fly through a cloud with my kids, they're always saying, they're like, wow, we could go through, but there's nothing that impressive. It's just a cloud. It's just mist. It's just air. It's just vapor. There's nothing there. And the obvious answer is you're right. That's why the Rebbeinu Shalom chose a cloud, because it can't protect you. There is nothing there. It was all Hashem all the time. So I said, it's not that we left the sukkah, it's that we left Hashem in the sukkah. And I'm going back and forth on different things, but this got my mind to thinking that there is no protection. I don't even think there's really a Hamas in this world. It's all messaging from the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's all messaging from how the world is set up and I keep hearing people say, and this is why the Satan's tool that he's using over here is the news, to try to keep convincing us that Hashem's not running this show and it's everyone else. And it's not. So I keep thinking to myself, I keep hearing from people, the Israeli government fell asleep at the wheel. Right? They weren't ready. I've been down to the south. Okay? I've been up north, obviously, but I've been down to the south. I've been to Stero a few times. You couldn't walk 5 feet without like a platoon of very highly trained soldiers just hanging around. This wasn't a falling asleep at the wheel. And even if it was falling asleep at the wheel, I think it's just a remez. I know nothing about politics. I know nothing about the Israeli government. I know nothing about their protocol. I don't know. Maybe it was falling asleep at the wheel. I have no idea. But I think it's a remez for us. The Israeli government aren't the ones who fell asleep at the wheel. We all fell asleep at the wheel. We were all very much enjoying the quiet. And when it's quiet, we get to start looking around. I was just in a community over here, a very big Jewish community, and I was saying this over. We all start getting bored. And when we do that, we start creating these separations between us and other Jews, between us and ourselves, with the most minute detail. He's not wearing the right shirt. That person's not wearing the right yarmulke. That one's socks aren't okay, so I don't associate with them. Like that's not who we are. That's not, and we fell asleep at the wheel. We forgot the importance of Ahavas Yisrael, of connecting, of being there for each other. We forgot. It was all of us. And I think the most important thing we forgot, because you mentioned Tehillim, I think the most important thing we forgot, now I'll pass it over to you, but I think the most important thing we forgot is the power of a Jew. We keep, the real thing that we left, because some of us were still in the sukkah, the real thing we stopped doing the day beforehand was the Arba Minim. And the last thing we held was the Arabas. And I think so much of Klal Yisrael on the whole remez of a whole vert that that every Jew is one of the Arba Minim. Really, we're all the Arba Minim, but the entire idea is that I think so much of Klal Yisrael feels like the Arabas. They're like, just leave it to the Esrogim of Klal Yisrael, leave it to the Lulavim of Klal Yisrael. They'll take care of everything. They'll what go. No, the Arabas are the last ones we hold, and you can have the most beautiful lulav and esrog in the world. If they're not tied together with an Arava, they're worthless. It's a bracha levatala. The whole thing is worthless. I think this wakes up the Arabas that your Tehillim is not valuable. It's not until you say it. It's the neshama behind the Tehillim that's saying it that makes it powerful. But just buying a Tehillim, putting it in a picture frame and hanging it up on my wall, it's not a mezuzah. It has no strength on its own until there's a neshama behind it saying it. That's your neshama. I think where we fell asleep is we forgot how important we are. We forgot how important connecting to each other are. And we forgot why something like Tehillim works. It's because of how deeply important every single Jew is. And I really, if there's one thing we never forget from this entire thing, and we never stop doing, it's valuing each Jew. That's my piece on it.
Ari, I got a fever. And the only cure is my collars and coats shirt. So I did it yesterday. I've been meaning to do this for forever. And I did it yesterday because I had to. I went for a run in a collars and coats shirt. I did it. I went out.
No.
I did a jog in a collars and coats shirt.
Oh, no.
And I want you to know something. It might
Testing the product.
Yeah, it might have been better than when I normally go for a run. It was amazing. It really was incredible. First of all, the flexibility of it is unbelievable. I honestly keep forgetting that I'm wearing a white shirt constantly. I don't want to stain it, and I don't want to. It's like I value it, and I don't want to. So I constantly forget that I'm wearing it. But it is amazing when you're wearing it with a tie and a jacket or a sweater, whatever it is. No one can tell that you're wearing a polo shirt underneath.
Incognito.
Now,
incognito.
And also, my favorite one, I tried them all at this point. My favorite one, for the summer, my favorite one are the polos by far. But my favorite one right now is actually the long sleeve button down. It is the most comfortable thing ever. It's like wearing pajamas all day. It's amazing.
Yeah. The collar and the cuffs are both strong and they stay true throughout, even after a bunch of washes, which, by the way, they're wrinkle free. You just wash them and you dry them, you put them up.
Wash
There's
them
no ironing. Really just, we love them. So come join us.
Yeah.
Collars and
Get
Co.
out there.
Come join.
Collarsandco.com. And we're not just here to give you
a promo code.
We're not here just to give you good ideas. We're here to give you some savings. Let them know that Ari and Yossi sent you by giving them promo code
2 cents.
2 cents. That's the word
2 cents.
2 cents will save you 15%.
And
why don't you talk at the same time as me?
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting about the cloud, Yas. That's saying it's the worst protection. So Rav Berkowitz brought the Maral over there by Yetzias Mitzrayim, that the pasuk says that Hashem had an Anan, Hashem had a cloud, and Hashem had a Malach. Both. The pasuk says it was both. Frek the Maral, he asks, I don't understand. What did you need a cloud for, and what did you need an angel for? Have one or the other. So it says over there that the Egyptians were shooting arrows and different things, and that Hashem brought the cloud and brought the Malach over there to separate them, to catch the arrows or to stop it. And so either have an angel stop it or make your cloud thick enough to stop it. I don't know, like just one of the two. Why have both? And says the Maral that the cloud is just a representation of a Malach only being able to do something in this world if there is the thinnest of physical hosts for it to grab onto. That the angel was sent to do its job. But if there isn't a physical host, if there isn't something there for the angel to latch onto to do it, then it can't. And so Hashem had to put the thinnest thing possible, like you said, which makes no sense. It's just not a protection. But for you to see that, of course, it's not the cloud. Of course, it's Hashem. but to put the thinnest physical thing out there to be able to protect us all. And we hadn't seen, number one, that there was a thin veil of something that I missed, perhaps, that there was always an angel around all of Klal Yisrael. And it still is, we still have to appreciate that as this point now, whatever today's date is, today's November 1st. So it's been 3 weeks now that at this point, there have been over 6,000 rockets that have been shot into Israel from the beginning of October 7th. Over 6,000 rockets, and a lot of them hit main Israel. A lot of them hit Tel Aviv and different places. And Hashem has put that cloud back. It's there with the angel catching every arrow. It's there making sure that the protection is, Baruch Hashem, solid. But what you said over there, they're falling asleep at the wheel, I mean, yeah, seeing all the protests around everywhere else, seeing the world lose its marbles, seeing the world lose its mind is something where we have to take a stark just reality check right now, which is that it's not like the whole world was waiting and baiting their time. It just, in an instant, to be honest, I don't know how they got all of those Palestinian flags to all of those different protests. I'm not sure. It was like Prime one day. Was Prime working on overdrive that day? But all of a sudden, 7,000 people started marching down the Brooklyn Bridge and closed it down. All these different places. Where did it all come from? And the answer, along the lines of what Yossi was saying, the answer is that Hashem went. And the reality is, it's a pasuk in Yirmiyahu. If anybody wants to see, it's at the first parak, pasuk Yud Zion, where the Beis Levi Bitachon brings this, that Hashem tells Yirmiyahu, I am mobilizing the world against you. Hashem literally says, I'm sending their malachim, their kings, their mishpachot, Tzafon. And now Tzafon means the north, but the word Tzafon, the Gemara over there in Sukkah Nun Beis tells us that the Yetzer Hara, one of his name is Tzafon, that he's hidden. Hashem said, I'm sending you the enemies from Tzafon. I'm sending you the enemies from where they're hidden. From places where you have no idea where they are. It's like, ice cream truck guy? You also? Like everybody from like the most, you too? Right. I'm sending, why? For what reason? Hashem says, I'm sending them around you. The pasuk says, and they're going to literally surround Yerushalayim. There's going to be a Meitzar around your whole, your people, your land. And Hashem says, but don't be afraid. Don't give in. Hashem says, if you're afraid, and this is what the Beis Levi is trying to point out, if you're afraid, that fear itself will give them a platform to stand on, to fight, to hurt. If you're not afraid, if you have bitachon, Hashem says, just tell Klal Yisrael, I'm coming through for them. I am coming through for Klal Yisrael, and I'm going to defend, and I'm going to destroy all their enemies. But the reason why I sent them, says Hashem, is because you've turned away from me. It's because you've looked in all other different places. Yossi, it's just the Matrix. It's just Agent Smith. That's the way it goes over here. That reference for everybody out there is that in the Matrix, Hashem. I'm not even. How am I supposed to do this? How else can you explain this? Because when I was watching all the news, Yossi, I just saw Agent Smith after Agent Smith. Agent Smith is the bad guy who's always trying to go and fight the good guy. And whenever he needs more bad guys, he can go and change anybody, any person, a little old lady pushing her little carriage, or you can have an entire playground full of parents and kids. He can turn them all into Agent Smiths. All of a sudden there's like, rah, and they all just turn into these bad guys to go and to fight. And they see each other and like, chum, 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 and they just go start chasing. They all go start running.
Everyone knows exactly what you just said.
Right? I think it's pretty clear.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, very clear.
And so they all go and they all attack. Hashem changes the entire world into Agent Smiths to wake us up. Hashem goes, and I mean, like, based on those psukim, and based on the fact that what does the world really want from us? Meaning, what are they so upset about at us? And by the way, it's disgusting. Their timing is disgusting, but their timing also has to show us something to learn from. Meaning, if let's say it was a random Tuesday that the world decided it's just Hate Jew Day, to us, we'd be like, yeah, kind of makes sense. It's Hate Jew Day. That's just but they did it sticking salt in the wound of how much pain all of Klal Yisrael, all the Jews around the world are reeling from, right? We're in so much pain. And literally within that, I mean, by October 7th, the next day or two, I was actually impressed with the world. The day or two afterwards, most places came out and said, yeah, we denounced Hamas. I don't know. Great. And then it took maybe 48 hours before the first one popped up and said, it's the Jews' fault. Like, what? Seriously? What do you want? And it literally, it reminds me of Rav Noach. They sent this clip around, but I remember hearing this clip from before, and that Rav Noach Weinberg, the Rosh Hashiva of Eish HaTorah V'Shalom, that very famous speech where he said, you know what the world is upset at us? They're just wondering, why can't you just die quietly? Why can't you just die quietly? Like, why do you have to make such a noise while you're dying? And literally, the world now is coming. But where's it coming from? Normal people don't think that way. And the answer is Hashem literally uses the whole world to wake us up. To wake us up to what? It's because the world actually wants us to be what we're supposed to be. The world wants us to be great. When the Jew is doing what he's meant to, when all of us are literally doing what we're doing now, I don't remember everybody being on such great behavior for so long. Have you ever been on such great behavior for so long in your life?
No.
Right?
No, I've definitely not been this productive in a very long time.
But just stop great behavior of watching anything, like even for like a minute or two. You're like, like a funny clip that gets sent around, like, I don't have time for this now. I could be saying Tehillim right now. Any kind of a feel. We're on our greatest behavior, and it hasn't stopped. The Yamim Noraim are continuing. They're just still going. They're just still happening now. It has, and everybody's, because there's greatness that we have, and the world wants us to be great. The world wants to look at Klal Yisrael for us to take our place.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Rabbi say, Klal Yisrael now sees with this war, the casualties of it, the horrors of it. We, for the first time, are dealing with hostages, and we're crying and we can't sleep at night because of it. Yad La'achem has been dealing with hostages for way too long. And now, Yad La'achem just told me that because of the situation in Eretz Yisrael, there are so many Jewish women with their kids being held hostage inside all different Arab villages around Eretz Yisrael. Now, they've been doing this, unfortunately, for years. How the women got up there, who cares? Right now, there are Jewish neshamot that have to be brought home. And they're calling and they're begging, save me, save my children. Yad La'achem can't say no. They just undertook another save. They just undertook another mission to go. And there's so many more that they have to do. It's our obligation now. There are hostages and we know where they are. And we have the people on the ground to go and do it. They just need the impetus. They need us to daven. And they need the finances to be able to go out there to save them. And after they save them, to bring them back into safety and then to bring them back into the community. There's so many different aspects to what it means to save a Jewish neshama, to save a Jewish family, la'ome'an. So right now, we need to be the power to give Yad La'achem, the hand that reaches out to our brothers, to give them the ability to reach out and to save so many hostages in Klal Yisrael. Now is the time that together we bring them home and that together they will finally be safe.
Please take the minute right now to go to saveaworld.org. saveaworld.org to help Yad La'achem rescue Jewish women and children that need to be saved right now in this emergency campaign. Saveaworld.org is specifically for the 2 cent listeners. Let us rescue Jewish lives together. Thank you.
I got a glimpse of, I think, and there's like this, I found out that there's a fear, Ari. I don't know if you've experienced this, and a lot of people are disagreeing with me, and I hope I'm wrong, and I'll admit, I maybe it's just but there is a fear going around of Mashiach, right? I don't know how we did this, but somehow our modern, current day Judaism, cultural Judaism, has somehow even ruined Mashiach, and people are running around like all afraid, everyone's going to die, everyone's going to this, and I like so much of Mashiach is shrouded in mystery, and everyone's going on that one, that one Gemara in Saita on fine, okay. I'm not saying that there aren't parts of Mashiach that are Gog and Magog and things are going to be very, very difficult. I'm not saying that, but it is going to be the most beautiful thing that has ever happened to each individual person, and obviously Klal Yisrael as a whole. And we always said that, like, the Goyim are going to know then. The Goyim are going to know, and they're going to either be our servants. I was never really comfortable with that whole concept that we're going to rule over them. Something about it seemed very, I don't know, not us, not, And this past Friday, I'm driving
because
over
it's
here.
before you continue, it's because that's not what it means. No, it's because that's not what
right.
it means. It's not. Can
So
I just throw it? Go ahead. Sorry.
So I want
you're driving.
No, I know where you go. I want you to do that right after. No, I'm driving down Green Road over here on over here. It's one of the main roads, Green Road, on Friday, and there's this group of African American Christian church group, a bunch of them, and they're all waving, and it's right by all the Jewish stores, like all the butcher and like all the, and they're waving these Israeli flags, and they have these big signs that say Shabbat Shalom and Am Yisrael Chai. And as I drove by, I felt like they were cheering me on for something. And I think for 1 second, I got like the idea of what it is. It's not that we rule over them. It's that finally we and them recognize the effect of the Jewish people and what the Am HaNivchar really means. They want us to be us because their world will be amazing when we are who we are supposed to be. Their world will be at peace with no violence, with none of this going on, with no tragedy, with none of this happening. It's going to be this glory, this beautiful glory, and it's on us to bring that and make that happen. I feel like in cultural current day Judaism, we've made it all about the Jews, and we've segregated ourselves so much from the world when we don't realize all of this is on us. We're the ones who affect all of this. And when Mashiach comes, every road leading into Yerushalayim is going to be fraught with them cheering us on, being like, they did it. They did it. Like 100%. We cheer on our soldiers. Like we cheer on our soldiers. Like we're going to cheer on our military. Like they're going to be there finally recognizing that we're the ones running the show of fighting for them, of creating good in this world, of creating, of diminishing the chaos, of ridding the world of evil and pain and hurt and suffering. They're going to be cheering us on in that way. They're going to be happy with that as well. There's going to be a joy there to that as well. And I think it's a very, very, so like you were saying, that's not
so
true.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Yossi, he gets hit by Sarah's angels. He tries to take Sarah as his wife, and he gets hit left and right. His whole castle gets smacked around. What's his response?
Right.
Pari turns to his daughter and says to her, Mutav, it would be better. It would be better for you to be a servant at this house. Go and live with Avram and Sarah. Then for you to be the queen of my whole kingdom. I'd rather you go be their servant. What does that mean? What that means is that he said, Avram Avinu talks to angels. They're supernatural. They're beyond whatever reality thinks humans are meant to be. They go the next level. They're connected to Hashem. Go, have that, be with that. Just better than to be any of the greatest over here. They want us to have that moment. On that day when they all say we're one, it's not pshat that they're going to be our servants or anything else. It's not it. They're going to say, what can we do to help so that you can become the greatness that's lying within you to become? If you or I or anybody knew some kind of a research doctor who, if he only had a year of being able to do his research, he'd be able to cure all cancers. It's just that he's a professor and he's also teaching. You okay?
I was trying to find a chumash. Yeah.
So he's also teaching different things everywhere, and he has to tutor kids. The guy doesn't have time to sit down and do his research. If the world found out that there was a guy, and what does he need to live? The guy needs $220,000 a year to live, to pay his mortgages, this, is that. The world would be like, well, one second. All we have to do is make sure that he has $220,000, and then we can lock him in a room and tell him, you do your research to cure all cancers. We would all rally around him and give him the money so he can do that. That's what it means. They're all going to rally around us and say, you're God's people. Can't you just bring God into this world more, like you're saying, to bring priests and everything else? And so when we try to just be like them, when we try to show them that, the Jew, what we do is we make a lot of money, or the Jew is successful, we build big houses, or they're like, stop trying to be good at what we do in the physical world. Can you just become what you're meant to become? And so, Hashem Hashem is there by the protesters also. He's there with them standing. Ein od milvado means that there's nothing but God. That means God's with the bad guys also. What's he doing there? He's yelling and screaming, could you stop trying to be like the rest of the world and take your God-given right and place inside reality, which is to be my people, so that you can be a light into the nations, so that you can become, and I'm going to put it back to you, but I believe this to be firmly true. You know where Hashem started it to show us your whole trajectory has to change? Your trajectory of what you believe success is. It has to change. Your trajectory of where you are going, what you thought would be literally success in this world, has to change, because if your kid went to Harvard, or if your kid went to Cornell, or if your kid went to Columbia, you thought you made it. You thought that your kid is going to become the next great doctor, engineer. You thought as a Jew, you thought that was the greatest place for your kid to get to? Really? So let me go ahead and show you. My agent Smiths, they're going to start coming from there. From those places that you held so high in such esteem, from those places I'm going to show you, that's not where you're meant to be. You're meant to go and become greatness as a Jew. Send your kids off to Bet Midrash and also to university to go learn a trade. That's fine. But it was never, as a Jew, it was never that the universities are the places that's where we celebrate success. And the world was saying to us, that's not what you said. Be great. Be Yidden. And now people will be like, well, what does that look like? And the answer is, this is what it looks like. What's happening in the world right now. This is what it looks like. Where Art School goes and prints 20,000 Gemaras and gives them out to all the soldiers everywhere that they're learning on the front line at the same time, where everybody's just knocking off the Tehillim. I give this women's share, and generally they're all schmoozing when I walk in, and now they're all sitting around with the Tehillim before and after. We are doing, I believe, the most incredible that we can now. We can't pat ourselves on the back. We have to keep on going much better. But there's one more step that I believe we need to all have, and that's the next step. Like you were saying, people are afraid of Mashiach. We have a step of betachan. And I can give it back to you now, but just a step of betachan, of trusting that Hashem's got us. Hashem's got this. To really feel that there isn't anything that you need to be afraid of. Hashem is literally there with us right now, all the time. Just do what you got to do.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to work backwards here on the fear thing first. I know this has been said 1,000 times. I don't know when this is going to come out, but when it does, it's going to have been said another 10,000 times before then. But I think the message is extremely important. This isn't just a war that's happening in Israel. Obviously, the whole world's at risk. I know that's not what I mean. What we need to be afraid of, if I may quote, what we need to be afraid of is not the evil people who are trying to hurt us. We need to be cognizant of them, and we need to be safe. There's no question. But that's not what we need to be afraid of. There is a fear. There is something we should be afraid of over here. And the Satan, on any special time, so we know the Gemara brings down, Zohar also brings down, Friday afternoon, the Satan has a very special gift that was given to him by Hashem of Tirda, that people become very Torah in doing things, and so that they can, because Friday afternoon you can have an entire Yom Kippur's worth of tshuva happen for you on a Friday afternoon if you prepare properly, if you are ready for that, if you're ready to go into that. But the Yetzer Hara said to the Rebbeinu Shalom, I can't I can't compete with that. Like, you're going to give them this entire thing on a front. So he gave him tirda to keep us distracted. I think over here, what Hashem gave the Satan was like, this is too powerful. You're literally lighting a fire under every single Jew. How many people, how many thousands and thousands and thousands of pairs of tefillin, tzitzis are being worn right now? Like, it's not fair. That's not fair to his job. I think Hashem said, I can't, and I'm not going to speak for him, but the way it seems to me is that the response was, here's videos, social media, news, clips, and all these things. You can distract them. Maybe if you distract them, so I don't think what we need to be afraid of over here is evil or the evil people, because number one, they're always going to be there. Number two, we need to be cognizant and protect ourselves, but not be afraid. What we need to fear most is the indifference of the good people. And I'm not talking about the Goyim, I'm talking about the Jews. The indifference of a Jew who feels that his entire being right now and his entire ability right now and meaningfulness right now is to be able to catch up on the news and find out what the latest thing that happened was. And you're sidelining yourself. So when I already mentioned that about Pare getting the makas from Sarah, but Rav Salman from Torah Simcha always used to tell us that there's an amazing, I never noticed it before he said it, but what did Pare say to Avram Avinu? It's amazing. Pare says to Avram Avinu, when he comes and when he realizes what happened and realizes that Sarah was really his wife, and what does he say to Avram Avinu? He's getting hit. Turns to Avram Avinu and he says, "What did you do to me? What did you do to me?" So I was like, for the Chumash, I wanted to exact it. What did you do to me? Masalanu, I think it was. What did you do to me? And Rabbi Solomon points out, he's like, what did he do to you? Are you crazy? Your country, your people are so corrupt, are so twisted, that if a husband would come in with the wife that you want, they'll murder him for her. And who are they giving her to? They're giving her to you, Para. You're the one who set this step. What did he do? You're the one who built this castle to do this. I was going to use two words over there. I can't use. You are a predator here. You're the problem, not Avram Avinu trying to protect himself. You're the issue. We need to never be able to fall into that state, and we need to look at ourselves and say, not Hashem, what did you do to me here? Not why did the Israeli go? Why did this one? How is it that in Columbia University, we're the ones who set the standard? You know why they can beat on us like that? Because we walk around with our heads down. We walk around low and dejected and embarrassed of wearing a yarmulke, and embarrassed of what we do. So yeah, they'll be able to come in because we don't even believe in this enough. So that was the first point from that I wanted to make from Parak, that Marcel, no, we did this. We are a part of this. We have a hand in this. This isn't to assign blame. And it's not because of our Averis. Before I get all the emails saying that it was my Averis that did it, and by Averis they mean they didn't finish the Tehillim train that they, or even if it is a big Avera. That's not what this is.
No, it's not blame.
It would be easy.
Yeah,
it's not, and it's not blame. But you know what?
It's not
Everything
blame.
would be easy. The second this happened, Ari, I'm not gonna lie. The second this happened, Mitzvah Yom Tov, I was on the phone like a crazy person. Lev Lachem could back me up on this. I was on the phone like a crazy person trying to get to Israel, to get onto the front lines. I wanted to fight. I just had this. I wanted to go, and I wanted to be part of the army. I was literally calling everyone I know. Moshe, like anyone who knows, Dave Stern. I called Dave Stern. I was like, Dave, I'm sure you have some sort of guerrilla unit underground. I went in. And I realized, one of our band pointed out to me, yes, you're going for the easy way out. Obviously, going there to fight is not the easy way out, but it would be for me. And the reason it would be the easy way out for me is because then I don't have to do what my real responsibility is. And my real responsibility is nowhere near as meaningful and deep and as going there to fight. But I have a responsibility I'm trying to avoid. So what this is, or what we move forward with, I believe, from the Rabbanim and from everyone that I've spoken to and I've heard from, is for us to remember our greatness and our effect as individuals and as a whole. So yeah, if you're, why is it so easy for us to say Lashon Hara? Because we don't take our own words seriously, because we don't take ourselves seriously. If you have that person that would feel like $1 million if you included them in something you do, that would feel amazing if you gave them a call, and you're just like, they're not my type, and you go out of your way, yeah, now everyone's like, I would rather fight on the front lines than call my mother-in-law and do that thing. I'd put me on the front line, because our own job is a lot harder. It really is. It's a lot harder. I love my mother-in-law. That wasn't my quote of saying. Our own job is a lot harder. We have to ask ourselves, am I being para here? Am I saying what's being done to me here? Am I just yelling about how the world is persecuting me? Or am I taking the responsibility here and saying that none of this stuff exists. None of it's real. This is all, like I always said, this is all the Matrix. None of it's real. This is all the Rabbeinu Shalom and the Jews. And we can be masaking all of this from the inside out. We could be masaking this by being masaking ourselves, by strengthening who we are, by believing first and foremost in who we are, and moving that forward. Because if you were to ask any of those people that went running down there, and there's that clip that was going around that I'm sorry, I have people proof all the clips that I watch, because I don't want to see any of the horrible things. I believe it's a din for me and Shmir, for me personally. I think it's a din in Shmir Sayinayim, but the positive ones. There was one where this news reporter went running for cover, and the camera pans around, and there's all these press sliver guys, guys dancing in the street. That's how we are. That's how we are. We're able to do that because we know what we are. We know who we are. All these people that went down there to make food, to serve food, what were they doing? They weren't just feeling helpless. I think someone said to Rabbi Berkowitz in one of the shiurim that we were having with all right after it happened, someone said, Rebbe, he was telling them to be positive, and they were like, Rebbe, that's nice, but everyone in America right now is walking around, I forgot the exact term they used, but walking around, alone, scared, and depressed. And Rabbi Berkowitz said, well, then it's much better to be in Eretz Yisrael. No one's lost, no one's scared, and no one's depressed. They're all angry. And that's how we got to be right now. Not angry at the nations of the world, not angry at anti-Semitism, not angry. We have to be aware of that for sure. We have to be angry that we want to make a change, that we want to stand for something. We are no longer Arabis on the sidelines. We are all a part of this, and we're all going to do big things, not just to pull us out, but to stabilize us as Klal Yisrael again.
Yep. All right, look, I have to run off to school to teach. It is started this pretty early over here. So to sign off, this is something like in Parshas Bechukos, it tells us, if you keep your chukim, if you keep the mitzvahs, the next psukim say, 5 of you will chase 100, 100 of you will chase 10,000. So my sign off is just simply to say, everybody, that like what Yossi was saying, your words are so powerful and they're so important. Your Torah is so powerful and important. And we see it straight up in Psukim that it says that if we keep to mitzvahs, we keep to the words, where Telechu Rashi says is Amul Batorah, you're toiling in Torah. The direct effect of that will be for what's happening right now, will be for our soldiers, 5 to chase 100, 100 to chase 10,000. That's the best of what we have. That's we have to look inside. And when Yossi was saying that it's ourselves, he wasn't assigning fault or blame. Yossi was assigning more of what is our orders now, what is our duty right now, what is really demanding
responsibility.
us right now. The responsibility.
Rebbe always
of
says,
the
what's
moment,
our responsibility?
what's our responsibility to Klal Yisrael? We're all feeling that responsibility, and it's that responsibility that's going to really bring home our soldiers safe. It's going to bring home, B'ezrat Hashem, so much joy to ourselves, and that ultimately to bring Mashiach to all of us so that we can show the world,
Amen.
and more importantly to ourselves, that we have the right place. All right, I got to go. Yes, have a great day, and everybody, B'ezrat Hashem, take on that responsibility in the greatest way possible.
Care. Be safe, guys. Take care, and B'ezrat Hashem. Next 2 Cents podcast is going to happen at the Kotel, interviewing, who knows? Take care.
Maybe Mashiach.